Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail was not quite what I expected. Following the fan favorite expansions like Shadowbringers and Invoker, bars were set really high for Dawntrail. The fact that the last two expansions were so good was a blessing and a bit of a curse for this expansion. I was aware of this. I started Dawntrail main story with my expectations in check. Dawntrail is meant to be a new beginning following the Hydaelyn and Zodiac arc we just recently concluded, so some exposition and build-up was required. I think this whole expansion was marketed with this in mind, reminding the players that we won't be fighting some 12-headed god at the very beginning of a new story arc. They marketed Dawntrail as a summer vacation expansion, an expansion in which we'll be meeting new characters, discovering new areas, cultures, to basically build the setting for this new story arc we're starting. Though all of that sounds like an ADHD-riddled gamer's nightmare, this change of pace doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be less enjoyable. We've seen this done right countless times before. Knowing how talented the Final Fantasy XIV writers are and what they did in the past, I expected a fun, interesting story from them. I believe they could handle this. And they did? Did they? The reviews are still mixed and there's a reason for that. If I have to choose a word to describe the entirety of the Dawntrail expansion so far, it will be different. This can be a positive or a negative thing depending on the person. For me, it was a bit of both. Dawntrail's story was an enjoyable one overall, or at least I had fun playing through it. The writers had so much they could do even with the story direction they chose to follow. They had so many opportunities to capture the audience. Yet even though I enjoyed the overall story, even though the last part touched me on a personal level and brought me to the brink of tears, I think there were some things they could have handled so much better. Hey, it's AvyCat. I recently finished my Dawntrail playthrough on Twitch and I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys. You don't have to fully agree with everything I say in this video. That's perfectly normal. Please don't yell at me. This is just my personal review of the story as a long-time enjoyer of the game and someone who is way too obsessed with story writing. Unfortunately for everyone, I also love yapping, so sit back, sip on your fantasia and enjoy the ride. We are going on a summer trip together. Our adventures in Tural started out pretty slow and relaxed as I expected. As someone who enjoys the lore and cares about the little details, I was having a blast learning about the new continent and its people, though I can understand those parts might feel a little too slow for those who are not interested in the smaller details. There was a lot of reading at the very start of the story. It was a bit surprising actually. Other than that, it was pretty much how the producers explained the expansion will go. A summer vacation for the Warrior of Light. Or it was a summer vacation for the first part of the story. We traveled to have adventures and to help Wuk Lamat, a new character in the rite of succession. I have to be honest, I was a bit worried. It was a bit of a risky move to tie the players to a brand new NPC and make them follow her around in the first part of the story. It's a bit worrying whenever a game does that, since the player's experience will depend on whether or not they like the character they're accompanying. I was one of the lucky ones because I found Wuk Lamat to be a likable character, though I heard that was not the case for everyone. I guess it's just personal taste. I really enjoyed her light-hearted personality. Though she was naive and sheltered and had obvious flaws, she had a good heart and she cared for her people. Her morals aligned pretty well with the Warrior of Light, with the Scions now disbanded and our old friends now following their own separate paths. I imagine our hero would be looking for new company and new adventures. It felt convincing enough to me that our hero would accept Wuk Lamat's request to help her in the rite of succession. I thought it was a pretty good premise. I found her adorable as a character, but I couldn't help but feel like something was missing as we continued our adventures. Some say it was the voice acting. I completely disagree. I think the voice actors delivered their lines wonderfully. I don't think that was the issue at all. Though I do agree there were some scenes that felt like they need to be voiced, but it wasn't voiced. There were also some scenes that felt like a filler, and those scenes were voiced instead. I'm not sure why they did this. This isn't the voice actor's fault though, it's a directing issue. I think Wuk Lamat suffered something similar to what Lee suffered in Stormblood. Though the character herself was a fun one, the character growth we saw throughout the story just didn't feel satisfying enough to me. She was kind, naive, and overly trusting at the very start of her story, and she still had similar flaws at the very end. She of course had some character growth. She learned how to become a better ruler for her people, but for the amount of screen time they gave to her at the first part of the story, I expected something more. I really think she's a good character that suffered from way too much screen time and not enough character writing to make up for that. I think that's my main complaint about the Dawntrail story overall. For an expansion that puts so much emphasis on the characters, I don't think they focused on the character writing enough in this expansion. They introduced so many new characters in one expansion that it felt a bit too crammed together. I wish we had more time to learn more about these characters individually, because those were some cool characters. I wish they had focused more on Zoralja's backstory, for example. I need to know how he got that daddy issues that made him so unhinged. They hyped up Ketenram as the coolest character ever, then he just appeared and did nothing? My dude was just there to do some mewing in cutscenes, that's it, that's about it. Mamolja and Kryle's stories deserved so much more screen time in my opinion. It felt a bit rushed. Also, what's up with this little guy? They gave us no explanation. They better explain it in the future. Where the heck did he come from? Why is he built like a thumb? I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell us more about Gulolja in the post-Dawntrail stories, because his story was not complete. He pretty much appeared out of nowhere. We need to know more about him. Halfway through the game, I was still enjoying the lore. The music was some of the best video game music I've ever heard. The dungeon and trial designs were outrageously good. Whoever designed the fights this expansion need a raise, because they were popping. This expansion has some of my favorite fights ever, and I'm pretty sure I gasped audibly while exploring some of the new maps. The visuals were stunning. The only thing I wasn't in love with at that point was the story, which is really weird since it's Final Fantasy XIV we're talking about. Final Fantasy XIV is known for its great writing. Everything clicked when I realized something. Oh my god, they were taking inspiration from Shonen manga. How did I not notice this earlier? We had every single Shonen manga trope in the first part of the story. A brave underdog protagonist, check. A tournament or a contest, check. A former enemy becomes a trusted ally, check. Mentors and coaches helping the heroes, check. And of course, lots of filler episodes to balance out the drama. I don't think I am the right audience for Shonen manga. It's great for people who like this kind of genre, but it's certainly not for everyone. So it made more sense that I didn't enjoy this part of the story that much. So accepting my fate, I continued the story, collecting dragon poop and hanging out with cowboy cat boys. You know, the usual MMORPG stuff. And then all of a sudden, we penetrated an ominous purple ball using a train. This is the part where things got real for me, personally. I was locked in from the first second we entered that zone. This is when the huge shift in the tone happened. This place was dark and forbidding. It gave you this sinister feeling. We were no longer on a summer vacation from this point forward. We were here for the trauma, and the trauma they gave us. Here we met Queen Safine, and it was an instant eerie feeling for me. I didn't trust Safine. I was right, and I love being right. The queen, the citizens, everyone seemed so content with their lives, even with the terrible electric clouds blocking out the sun for them. Everyone was so kind and welcoming. There was not a speck of negativity, which feels especially unnatural and alarming if you grew up in a household similar to mine. Stop being nice, you're creeping me out. The story of this zone gets darker and darker the more you learn about it. It's a story of desperation, of being way past the point of no return. Safine knows the path she is on is the wrong path, but she has no other choice. She must follow it through. As the Queen of Alexandria, it's her duty to protect her people no matter what the cost is. It's no longer a choice for her, it's what she is designed to do. In short, she's cute, but she's also bonkers, so we have to stop her. I do support women's wrongs, but we have to draw the line somewhere. We can't let her destroy the other worlds to save her own. Solution 9 was one of my favorite maps in this expansion. I was actually so excited to see how they were gonna tie in a cyberpunk-inspired area into the story, and they did wonderfully. The citizens of these areas are so used to using souls almost like a currency that most of them don't even question the morality of it. For them, this is a normal way of living. They don't have to fear an accident or a sudden death anymore, but it costs them something so precious and also so painful: the memory of their deceased. Once you learn this, you start to realize why everyone seems so happy in this area. Without the memory of the deceased, there is no grief. Without grief, life goes on uninterrupted. But is this fake happiness really worth the memories of your loved ones? Is it worth forgetting their smile, their voice, their laughter? that glitter of joy in their eyes. Find the golden city, they said. It will be a fun summer vacation, they said. Living memory was an awful, gut-wrenching torture in the best way. I hated every second of it because of how sad it made me feel. Yay! I didn't expect to get sucker punched on the face with all those feelings. I think I would be bawling my eyes out if I didn't have lovely company to cheer me up even during the saddest moments of the playthrough. This area was some sort of a heaven for the endless, a second chance at life. Though they were not alive anymore, they were still as good as real, feeling every human emotion, reliving their happiest memories, and even making new ones. It was creepy, uncanny, and dreamy, and strangely comforting at the same time. Filled you with a strange nostalgia. We knew why we were there. We had to stop Safine, but in order to do that, we had to erase the memories of the deceased. We had to stop clinging to their memories. Even though those were just the memories of people who were already gone, it wasn't an easy thing to do, but it was inevitable. We had to let them go. We had to let them rest. So we turned off the terminals one by one, each one of them being just as painful of a task. Goodbye. Grant them the peace they deserve. Let's free them, guys. Oh no! It's disappearing! The lights are going off. No! No, 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 no. Even the gondolas.
Sleep tight, everyone.
The music is gone. The music is gone. It's all quiet now. We sundered them. And so they disappeared, taking the colors, the music, and the joy with them, silent, leaving only an empty feeling in our stomachs. Once lightless streets turned pitch black, silent, they were gone. This was the best depiction of loss I've ever seen in a piece of media, let alone a video game. And I think I'll never forget it. It was beautiful, it was bittersweet. I was speechless. How does that feel, AV? Empty. Feels empty. What the hell, Square Enix? I came here for a summer vacation and all I got was sad. Dawntrail was not what I expected. It was a roller coaster with ups and downs, and it left us with so many questions. I wouldn't say it was my favorite Final Fantasy XIV expansion story ever. I do have some criticism for the story, I mentioned them earlier, but I think it was a pretty good build-up for this new arc we are starting overall. I don't think I've ever been this excited about the endgame content before. The fights are absolutely beautiful. They really stepped things up this expansion. And we got so much to look forward to in the post-Dawntrail stories, cause what the heck was that? Why does that sippy cup have a Zem symbol on top of it? Why did they zoom closer to Safine Crown after we defeated her? What is going on? I want to know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video. As I said earlier, you don't have to agree with everything I say in this video. It's my personal review of the story. It's my own experience with this whole expansion. And I'm actually curious. What do you think think of the Dawntrail expansion? Did you like the story? Did you not like the story? What do you think about the new characters? I'm nosy, I'm curious, so comment them down below. This was the first Final Fantasy XIV expansion I streamed the playthrough of, and it's been so fun. Thank you so much for being a part of my summer adventure. And with a special thanks to my channel members who support this channel, thank you so much. As always, I love your guts, and I'll see you in my next video. Stay cozy!